Welcome to the show, Patrick. Good morning.
Morning, Kalinder. Always a pleasure to be on your show.
How's doing today?
How are things today? It's always busy with me. It's like drinking out of a fire hose. I like to be busy all day long.
Okay, so Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of questions. Some of the directly concerned to the All Canadian, or some of the with the city of Brampton. So first question: you always raising concern about the car thefting, carjacking, or you are demanding for a scanner on the port and intermodals, on Canadian port and intermodal. What's happening right now? You are concerned.
Yeah, Kalinder, I've been concerned about this for the last 4 years. I've seen the number of stolen cars go up and up. We've seen a 300% increase in Ontario and Quebec in the last 4 years. It hasn't happened in Atlantic Canada. It hasn't happened in Western Canada. It's not happening in the U.S. It's happening in Ontario and Quebec. And the primary reason is 80% of stolen cars are for the international market, and they go to the Port of Montreal. In the United States, they have scanners, and so they can't get them out of the country, and so organized crime doesn't try to smuggle cars. In Canada, they only scan less than 1% of shipping containers. And so what we're seeing is organized crime is making big money. In 2022, it was $1.2 billion in stolen cars. In 2023, it was close to $2 billion. This is the biggest gift to organized crime in Canadian history, and they're using these stolen cars to support heinous criminal activity. This is supporting guns, drugs, terrorism, and we have to shut it down. And it's simple. You know, I went to Ottawa to make speeches about this. I've been explaining this with our police leadership to the government. In February, we got them to agree to fund the scanners. They made an announcement for $28 million. Here's the problem. It hasn't happened. The Port of Montreal is pushing back, saying they don't want the scanners. The government needs to insist. They need to tell the leadership at the Port of Montreal. They need to tell CBSA the scanners are coming whether they like it or not, because we cannot have port security that is the weakest in the industrialized world. You know, Kalinder, you go on an airplane, you can't get a bottle of water onto the plane. But we can see literally hundreds of cars leave Canada, stolen cars every day, and we know where they are. We can see the trackers, but they don't let police on the railway lines or the ports. And so, for me, it makes me want to pull my hair out, because I see how my residents are being terrorized. You know, it's not just someone stealing the car at 3 a.m. We have people breaking doors down. We have violent carjackings. The New York Times did a big article a few weeks ago, and they said Toronto is a candy store for auto thieves because it's so easy to get stolen cars out of Canada. This is embarrassing, Kalinder, and it needs to be fixed. And I know I'm being very aggressive with the federal government to fix this, but someone needs to speak up. Our residents can't live like this.
Patrick, I'm wondering, the port authority, they're pushing back the funding to federal government. Is it possible they can refuse the fund?
So ultimately, the federal government can order it. The Port of Montreal is a federal agency, and so they're appointed by the CBSA, the Port of Montreal. They report to the federal government. And so my question, Kalinder, and I'll be blunt, why don't they want the scanners? Why would they push back? It makes me wonder, are some of them part of it? You know, right now, they make it so difficult for police. We had one project, you might have heard about it a few weeks ago, called Project Vector. Now, Project Vector, they allowed our police to visit the Port of Montreal and inspect some shipping containers for a few hours. And we had our Peel police there. They opened 398 shipping containers. They found 598 cars in just a few hours. Now, 398 shipping containers sounds like a lot, Kalinder. There's 2 million shipping containers a year. So, and guess what happened? They found 598 cars and 398 shipping containers, and then they were asked to leave. They were asked to leave. Give me a break. You can't say we're going to catch bad guys on a Monday afternoon, but we're going to let them, commit criminal acts the rest of the week. I want our police to have the right to inspect shipping containers. I want them to have jurisdiction at the port. I'm tired of these justifications for allowing criminality in our country.
Patrick, last interview you told me Canadian has only 10 officers to inspect the containers at our intermodal our ports. So government hired some more officers so far or not?
No, we haven't seen any additional staff resources, but what we really need is these scanners. Kwinder, these scanners are $3.5 million, and we can literally look through very quickly each shipping container. It's what they do in the U.S. Kwinder, I asked this question. They drive the same cars in the U.S. They have the same security systems. Why is the auto theft rate in Canada 10 times higher? The only big difference is the scanners, is our ports. In the U.S., they protect their border, they protect their ports, and we're failing to do that in Canada. And so, I'm pushing hard, I'm pushing aggressively, but I need everyone's help to make sure the federal government knows they have to get this done. They have to fix this. I've met with Dominic LeBlanc, the public safety minister, several times. He's a good man. He's listening. He takes my meetings. The previous public safety minister wasn't even paying attention to this. But Dominic, I'm impressed with him, but he has to force the Port of Montreal to accept this. We just can't. I don't want to hear empty promises anymore. I don't want to hear, Band-Aid solutions. There's a hole in the bucket. This is the hole in the bucket. Fix it. Fix the leak.
Mr. Mayor, how can my listener, concerned Canadian, they can help you out to bring up this burning issue? And what is the solution for the Canada government to bring this one?
Well, I think to bring this up to the government of Canada, email your MP and say, we support Mayor Brown. Get the scanners at the Port of Montreal. We want scanners at the Port of Montreal. We want to protect our border. We want to protect our ports. And so please, feedback to your elected representatives. We can't accept this rate of auto theft. And I'd go further. We're trying everything locally. We have more police hired than ever before. We had a 14% police budget increase. We've got more police on the streets than ever before, but they are so busy dealing with all this auto theft and break and enters, and that you could add 1,000 officers and it wouldn't be enough, just because the volume is beyond anyone anticipated. And it's not just Brampton. The numbers for auto thefts and break and enters has skyrocketed everywhere in Ontario and Quebec, Toronto, Durham, Vaughan, everywhere. It is through the roof.
Patrick, I have just two small questions. First, Brampton going to relaunch RRLP program. Do you want to shed a light on that? What will be more amendment on that?
Yeah, so we're relaunching the program that insists that basement apartments have to meet fire code and building code. We have a lot of good landlords in the city, but there are some that have had deplorable conditions, fire traps. Kwinder, one thing that's heartbreaking for me as mayor, once or twice a year, I will get a phone call from the fire chief, and he'll tell me that there's, people that died in a basement apartment fire. And 99% of landlords, they follow fire code, they follow building code. But for the bad apples, the slum landlords, we're coming after them. And we expect them to follow Canadian safety guidelines. And before, we didn't have the legal tool to enter and shut them down. Now for these slum landlords, we're going to enter, we're going to shut them down, and we're going to say this will not be permitted in our neighborhoods. I would say the primary problem tends to be around the colleges, and because that's where you see a lot of, we've had instances, numerous, where there's 25 students in a basement apartment. So this is a pilot project, and it's really targeting the areas with universities and colleges. So, for example, in the east end of Brampton, we don't have this pilot project because it is largely multi-family living, and we don't have universities. You get to the Peel Village area, close to Sheridan, and we have big problems with too many students living in basement apartments in unsafe conditions. And so we're also at the same time pushing the universities. We're pushing Sheridan, we're pushing Algoma to build proper student housing, and they're coming in now with proposals. If you're going to charge an international student $20,000, their life savings, the very least you can do is make sure there's proper, safe accommodation. These people, these students, are chasing their dreams, paying huge amounts, and they're being expected to live like sardines. It's not right.
Patrick, last question, very brief. I got a very genuine question from some Bramptonian. They got a license for a legal basement less than 1 year. They still need to be inspect their basement. Why not the city of Brampton? They issue license to them if they have inspect everything just less than 1 year. What's you going to take on?
Yes. So those ones, anyone with a legal basement apartment are essentially going to be automatically put into the program. They don't have to do anything again. They just have to sign a piece of paper promising that they have maintained a fire code and building code. They haven't, which means that in the last year they haven't made any changes that would take away the safety that was approved. So we're going to take their attestation, their promise that they're still legal. Really, this is a tool to target the slum landlords. We want to make it as easy and as less burdensome as possible for the existing legal landlords. We want to make it almost automatic, waive all fees. The focus right now is that less than 1% of the slum landlords who are giving Brampton a bad name, who are creating unsafe conditions, and really, frankly, for some of these fires we've had where people have died, I think there's criminal negligence. If you knowingly allow people to live in slum conditions and someone dies, you should have criminal culpability for that. And we're not going to for too long in Brampton, we turned a blind eye to this. We're not going to turn a blind eye to it. If you have someone living in a fire trap, that's not permitted.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for joining me. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Hey, San Brampton Day, Honorable Mayor, Mr.